That's Michael Knight. He's at the dentist office this morning.
And that's New York Vinnie. He's in Seattle, where the baseball team has decided to win a few games and lose a few games. It's just like spring almost.
Well,
And
it felt
every
like
Monday,
yesterday.
every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you can find us on Facebook and on YouTube. Around
On
10:10
Facebook,
today or later.
on Twitter, now known as X, on I don't know. There's another one in there. YouTube. That's right, YouTube, and soon to be coming to a television station near you, which is really a lie. But everybody else is lying these days, so why not us?
As a matter of fact, we've turned down chances to get back on the radio because, from what we can tell, no one listens to the radio. They're broadcasting. They're in business. They have a sales staff. They have cars with the call letters written on the door. The trade out with a Cadillac agency, but no one's listening. So, what would be the point?
I don't know that they have cars anymore with the call letters on the side. I don't. I mean, maybe in LA they still do, but I think they've got to taken those off of the road up here because people have attacked. You know, when they had the zone there, though, what was it? The no cop zone, whatever it is. I think they took those letters off of the cars so that people wouldn't attack the media.
Attack the media? That's unheard of.
I don't know. There's a few people I could get to disagree with you on that. And actually, having been a member of the media who's gotten attacked a couple of times, I can tell you that it's not a lie. There are people
not as much fun as it used to be to get attacked, is it?
Well, no. I think there's people out there that have bought into this narrative. And listen, I'm not saying that the media is innocent. I mean, I think anybody who watches the media on a consistent basis knows that the reason they exist is to make money, not to serve you. That whole serve you thing went out with Walter Cronkite.
That was supposed to be for operating in the public interest. There you go.
Yeah.
And instead of operating in the public interest, the AM radio stations of America have multiplied the hate factor by millions and are fully responsible for the misconceptions that are held like truths clasped to the breast of the non-believers.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Michael. I would absolutely agree that there are whole broadcast groups that are dedicated to putting stuff out there that has nothing to do with the truth, but is designed to make you, buy Dr. Zog's sex wax or whatever they're selling.
And if you criticize them, they say, "Look, we're just entertainers." When you think about it, who would believe the crap that we're spouting on a daily basis? Who would vouchsafe that we're dealing with the truth or with facts or with important elements of our existence?
Well, they took the model of sports radio in many ways, and this is why. Well,
now that's damn funny.
I mean, they took the model of sports radio that has always really been the stuff you get in the updates is truth. The 2 minutes that we do updates is absolute truth. The rest of it, who knows? Take it with a grain of salt, because it's just opinion. It's what one schmuck sitting in a chair in a studio on Lower Queen Anne thinks, and not
four guys in a room yelling at each other.
Right, or somebody that we get who writes for a newspaper, like that makes them much more of an expert. But the mainstream media has taken that model and applied it to news with somewhat disastrous results.
Yeah,
because it's looked at as you can say and do pretty much whatever you want. And it's up to the intelligence of the listener to discern what's true and what's not true. Used to be that you would see something come over in the evening news and you would kind of say, well, several people have vetted that story and they've looked at it, and it's just not true anymore.
Now the choice is: do I like this lie or do I not like this lie? Is this a lie that I want to run with and believe, or is this a lie that upsets me and I choose not to believe it?
Right? Do I agree with this lie, or is it my? Is it my kind of lie? Right? I mean, that's really what you're
Yeah,
looking for.
that's a lie I
You're
can
looking
run
for
with.
your kind of lie.
You want to run with this half truth, or do you want to reject it?
Um, and certainly, if you're if you're a I don't know, one of these hot talk hosts, you don't want to know that it's not true. You don't want to do research. If you think it will excite your audience,
Go with it.
it means that more people are going to be talking about you, more people are going to be listening to you. And then of course there is the extreme holy messiah of all radio talk show hosts. Did it get me in the paper?
And am I going to run for governor based on my ratings?
So can I take this newspaper and take it into the lay it on the desk of the general manager of the station, who probably has never even heard my show, and say, look, he got his free publicity in the newspaper.
I had a general manager in Wenatchee explain to me that what I thought was the truth was all based on the fact that the Democrats were hiring actors to portray these parts across the nation. And what appeared to be news was simply the result of Democrats hiring actors to pursue these various points of view. Can you imagine the number of actors that would be employed right now if that were the case? Everybody would be an actor.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't be able to get an appointment at the AFTRA SAG union to pay your initiation fees. Because if they're Democrats, they would have to be union jobs, right?
There'd be no guests on the late night talk shows because they'd all be working during the day, pretending to be angry Republicans.
Yeah, it's the stuff that people believe or want you to believe, which I think is really much more the case than they believe it themselves. Um, it's frightening. I mean, it really is. It's frightening how much. And I'm not just saying that this is just a Democrat or a Republican or a left or a right or an up or a down. I mean, I think
Name
every
names then name somebody else who's doing it. Name somebody else other than the Republicans who have this point of
well,
view.
spin has been around for a long time. I see. You can't say because somebody is telling you something that it's true. You have to investigate it. You have to take the time if you're going to. And listen, if you tell me that Trump is the greatest guy in the world, and I say okay, and I keep that to myself, and I don't tell anybody else, well, who am I affecting? I'm messing up my own mind. But if you tell me that Trump is the greatest guy in the world, and now I go on social media and I've got 5,000 followers, and I punch that into my socials and look at this great story about Trump being the greatest guy in the world. And you put that out there, and other people repeat it and other people repeat it. Then all of a sudden, what do you got? Now you got something that you haven't checked out. Now you have a couple of thousand people who are telling you that Trump is the greatest guy in the world when you didn't even check it out.
If you had
That's
checked it
how.
out, you realize that he's not the greatest guy in the world. He is, in fact, just a Christian Messiah who's here to help the right overthrow the 10,000 years of Satanist war.
Well, I don't know if you remember this, Michael, but early on in the Trump presidency, and I almost get sick saying that, but early on in the Trump presidency, there was this story that was circulated. And it really was like the first year that he was in office. It was in that phase where there were enough people in America who were saying, well, let's see how he does. Let's see what happens. as
Let's give him
opposed
the
to
keys
some
to
of
the
us,
men's room.
yeah, who knew that it was going to be a cluster bang. Anyway, there was a story that was widely circulated on social media about Trump driving along or driving along the not the Grand Central, the Belt Parkway, which happens to be where that famous Howard Beach incident happened from
The
back in the
demonstration.
'80s, where the black guy, got a flat tire and went over went off the parkway to make a phone call and got killed, um, and they put out this story that Donald Trump was either driving to some versions, other versions he was being driven down the Belt Parkway on a rainy night, coming from Kennedy Airport, and he seen a car with it pulled over, on a jack, and the car was about to fall off of the jack, and Trump pulled over, took the guy in his car, and drove him to a service station where he bought him a tire
No.
and took him back to his car.
Oh no. Oh no.
And first of all, I'm not buying. I didn't buy it then. I wouldn't buy it now. But the preposterousness of you telling me that Trump had even noticed some guy on the side of the road stuck at whatever time in the morning they said it was, 2 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was, and stopped. Okay, maybe he stopped. I'll even
No.
give him that. But when he
No.
saw it was a black guy, I'm telling you that he told the chauffeur to hit the gas.
But there's a bigger problem, Vinny, and that is the hairspray that he uses on his coif cannot be dampened. You can't get out of the car when it's raining. Not even for a
Well, he could
moment, not even for a
just forget
second.
the car. But yeah, I just so that's and nobody vet. I didn't see anybody vet that story. There was no way you really could vet that story. It was just a bullshit lie that
And
was
you could
made
go to
up
you
to
could
make him look
you
better.
could vet
Anybody
it. You
knew.
could go to the gas. You could go to the gas station and find out if he bought the tire. Turns out,
Well,
yes, he did buy a tire. He bought the tires that were on sale, but they wouldn't fit the car that had the flats, so he bought them anyway because there was a savings involved.
that was
$29.95.
like, I guess people asked his office to produce any kind of receipt that showed that he bought the tire or that he was there, or an airline ticket that would have maybe placed him on the Belt Parkway from, but
Kennedy.
the Trumpies wanted you to believe that this was a good and benevolent man. And if you grew up in New York, or if you followed New York, or if you knew anything about New York, you knew that this guy was a phony ass bullshit artist.
And
So,
so he and
so
so he and so he remains.
well, and so it remains, and so the people that follow him and try to paint these pictures of him, that he's this great, benevolent, wonderful person. I mean, he screwed the charity that people gave him money to contribute to.
The
Come
same way
on.
he said these is the same suckers who went to Trump University, and if I'm lucky, I'll get them twice.
And bought tainted Trump steaks and bought Donald Trump neckties, of which I actually do think I have one of. I think somebody gave me one once for a holiday or a
Is it a
gift.
pretty?
And I said,
Is
you
it
know
a
what?
pretty red
Some
one?
days it's worth nothing. And I kept it, kept it, and somewhere in my stuff. And to be quite honest with you, if I find it, I'd probably just throw it out or give it to a homeless person or something that needs a tie.
One of the aspects of our show today may be some noise in the background. Consider this building that I'm living in, 4 stories. The plumbing on one side of the building that connects to all the kitchens is being replaced. So they're going through the wall in every apartment in the exact same place. So the cabinets are out of our kitchen. The dishwasher's out of our kitchen. It's been replaced by talented and fabulous workers who are sawing through the wall and working on the power as well. So that may be something that you hear in the background. Had to be done. There's no choice in the matter. And we thought that we could get a show in edgewise, and so far we are.
Yeah,
The
well,
pi-
the good thing about that is they're doing what, 4 kitchens?
Yep, stacked.
So, what number is yours in that mix?
We're on the first floor.
So you're the last kitchen to be done or the first?
I think they're doing them simultaneously because what they're doing is replacing the major water supply.
Well, maybe you stand a pretty good chance then that they know what they're doing.
So far,
And you're not
this is day
hooked up
2.
to that wonderful
Day 2.
sound in the kitchen of water coming through your.
So there are no kitchens functioning in this building on the side in our stack, and this is day 2 without a kitchen.
Well,
The only
can
people
they
who
at
really
least let you call out for deli and pay for it?
interesting idea. So far, has not been floated or accepted by the tenants. No.
Well, Mikey, I think that that's something that as the organizer that you are, and the person who always comes up with great ideas, I'll give you this one for free. Tell the landlord, hey, you know what? We haven't had a kitchen. At least you could do is buy us lunch one day.
You know, there's a whole building in San Francisco that's going through this. It's a major residential skyscraper downtown that lost its power for 9 days. And that means no emergency lights, no elevators, no electricity. And they just left the people there. They just left them to their own devices. So if you lived upstairs, you had to hike 25 floors down, 25 floors up.
Well, that can't be good if you have a heart condition.
And they're suing for restitution during the power downtime, and the building's fighting them for it.
Well, I in a perfect world, in a world where Trump Bibles actually meant something, that building or the Millennial Tower would fall on that building with everybody cleared out of them, and you'd kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
At least you get a look at the electricity. Oh, here's the problem. I couldn't find it on my own, but now the building has been collapsed, I see clearly what the problem was.
I mean, did they have these problems with older buildings? You live in an older building, I presume. I've never seen the building that you live in, but it seemed to me that older buildings lasted longer.
Well, I think that they probably did some savings on the original plumbing that they installed, and that provided for clogging that became chronic and then untenable. So the only solution was rip it out, put in new.
Right. And listen, let's face it. People in many places, especially rental apartments or condos, believe that you can throw anything down the drain.
Now that's a fact. That is a.
It's all going to somewhere that I have never seen, don't know about, and have no idea what's going on. So they don't know from traps. And,
don't know me. Don't hold me responsible. Why am I responsible? I put it down the drain. Now it's your problem.
Right, exactly. That I mean, I've seen some. I remember some of the stuff that my mother and my father would throw down a drain, and I was like, "Oh my God."
That's not going anywhere.
That's you're gonna see that again. You can't. Little Vinnie can't stuff a roll of toilet paper down the toilet bowl without it, causing some problem somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, said George Kirby. Yeah. I mean, there's just no way that it doesn't cause a problem. But many people don't care, or don't know, or don't take the time to know that that's what happens, and maybe that's part of the American experience. When you don't own it, you don't take care of it like it's your own, right?
Did you, when you were in Pittsburgh, remember a young pitcher by the name of Austin Strickland? Austin Strickland.
Austin Strickland. No, I don't. No, I don't quite remember him.
He's now a San Francisco Giant. We traded Joey Bart, our hopeful but unfunctioning catcher, to Pittsburgh yesterday. And
Oh,
Austin Strickland, a right-handed pitcher, comes to the Giants as a result. Promising kid out of their AAA system.
yeah. I'm gonna.
Now you
I'm gonna
watch
say that
Joey Bart.
probably.
Joey Bart will catch on fire and join the undefeated Pittsburgh Pirates, who are
Well,
5-0 so
Mikey,
far.
I'm not. I'm not one to toot my own horn, but several weeks ago in early spring training, what did I say to you?
Look out for the Pirates.
Keep your eye on the Pirates. Now, I don't know that this is going to last. They had a phenomenal start last year, too. They went like 20-3 or something like that. So I wouldn't I wouldn't go out and start standing online for Pirates World Series tickets.
But you might buy a T-shirt. Yeah.
But I dusted off my Pirates jersey that I have with me, and I'm gonna probably wear that on Friday if they stay
No,
undefeated.
I don't know why the Pirates did this, because Joey Bart, as I mentioned, is a catcher. He doesn't play first base. He doesn't play the outfield. And the Pirates have 1, 2, 3, 4 catchers. And so what do they want with Joey Bart?
Well, no. Well, first of all, catchers get hurt, so it's something that you have to think about, even if you stuff him down. And I don't know if he has an option to go back to AAA or not. The rules have changed so much, but he might be somebody that they just take and park down at AAA in case of emergency. Or maybe Ben Cherington, who's the general manager of the franchise, and a couple of the scouts say, "Hey, you know what? Austin wasn't going any place in our farm system real soon because we're stacked with pitching." Um, or maybe he just doesn't fit into this organization the way we think he does, and we see something in Joey Bart that says that a change of venue might help this guy.
Bart got DFA'd and nobody wanted him. And then the trade came up the next day.
Yeah, well, and that often happens because general managers are trying to see what they can get for the least that they have to give up. And maybe the Pirates were the first ones that believed that this guy had enough value to him that they could give something up for him. I mean, I don't know that. Like I say, I don't know the pitcher in question. I do know that Joey Bart was ticketed to be something, and it turned out to be not much of anything for the Giants.
He just couldn't hit the ball. That was the problem. He never hit 240.
Yeah. Which, to be fair, if you are a good defensive catcher,
They'll look around
um,
that. Yeah.
yeah, you'll get looked around about that. If you're a smart ball player, if you're a good catcher, if you call a good game, if you handle a pitching staff well, many clubs will look around at because, especially in the National League now, that they have the DH. So they can afford to have a weaker hitting position in the lineup.
Giants DH Jorge Soler finally woke up last night against the Dodgers, hit himself a home run, which he's supposed to
I
do.
saw that.
But the problem is the Dodgers also hit home runs, and Giants have won 2 games, lost them all, lost 4, can't beat the Dodgers, haven't beat them yet. And no matter how we put together the bingo, we don't have enough of it because our pitchers keep giving up plenty of runs to the other team. And as I understand it, you can correct me on this, Vinnie, but isn't it still true that the team with the most runs wins?
I'd have to call Rob Manfred's office
Just to double check.
and ask him because, as we see these days, baseball has become quite a litigious sport.
So
If you don't like the
can
ball,
they could have 5 runs, you have 3 runs, but you sue them in court and you win 2 runs.
well,
Somehow.
yeah, there's some kind of, as we've seen. Really, if you're in a red state, all you have to do is just say you won, and that starts the process.
Say the
And
game was a witch hunt.
you hire Rudy Giuliani for your manager, and he can just go out there and consistently argue. And while Rudy's arguing, people are buying beer, and it actually works out pretty good for you.
Where profit margin is met. Maybe Kerry Lake could be put together a cheerleading team for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Believe you me, I'm sure it's not that far away. I'm sure. Matter of fact, I haven't seen cheerleaders in baseball yet, but I have seen, the pep squad approach, where somebody goes out at the seventh inning with a big flag with the team's logo and moves it around like this, like that's going to, like the players are going to see that and be incited to play better because the moose is standing out there with the flag.
The Mariner Moose.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's not just the Mariners. I've seen it. The Pirates have done it. I don't know if they still do it, but they did do it with a couple of college kids, I guess would be the best way to describe them. Probably a college pep squad type of deal, where they throw the cheerleader up in the air and catch her with the one hand and everything.
Gymnastics.
Yes, thank you. Gymnastics. I don't know. I don't know if it's ever proven that works or not.
I like the idea that the Diamondbacks have. They duct tape a rattlesnake under every seat. Now they're a little angry because they don't like being handled that way, but it's a free snake. So who else is giving away?
Take it home.
Take it home and give it a name. Make it a pet.
As the head of Diamondbacks marketing said, it worked for Oprah with Pontiacs. It probably will work for us with snakes.
Of course, what happened to Pontiac? Went the way of the DeSoto.
Yeah, that was
at least we still have Oldsmobiles, right?
No, we don't have Oldsmobiles either, Michael. They are gone the way of the Pontiac.
What about the Nash Rambler? We must still have Nash Ramblers, right?
Only in the Superman series. You don't see him on the street, and you can't go to a showroom and buy a Nash Rambler. Although you could go to Washington and spend some time with the son of the man who I believe ran Nash Rambler for a while. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he ran. No, I think he did. I think he did run Nash Rambler or Rambler, American Motors. Of course, I'm talking about Mitt Romney.
Oh yeah.
Whose father was George Romney, who was at one time the governor of Michigan, but also prior to that ran American Motors, which was Nash Rambler and AM General and Jeep and a few other different products along the way.
Was Studebaker ever in that group?
No. Studebaker was with Packard. Studebaker was out of South Bend, Indiana. As a matter of fact, the Studebaker factory is still there in South Bend. They've tried changing it into a bunch of different things, but nothing seems to have worked out.
They were going to turn it into artist lofts, and then they realized that it's going to take 1,000 artists, and we've only got 3 in South Bend.
It's a huge building, and not enough people are graduating Notre Dame with an art degree that they want to stay around South Bend. Many of them are taking employment up the road in Elkhart, because that is the RV capital of the United States. They build more RVs in Elkhart than anywhere else.
You still see a lot of those around LA when they're doing film shoots. They have the pull up of the RV with the expanding walls. The walls roll out.
Yeah. Yeah, there's actually the company, and I actually almost want to work for this company. that rents those RVs. I don't know how they got this deal, but this is one of the sweetest deals in the entire world. And I know sweet deals. Is a company called Haddad's. If you look on the side of many of those studio grade RVs and lunch wagons and all that, they all say leased by Haddad's.
How do
Well,
you
Haddad
spell that?
is a guy out of Pittsburgh who runs Haddad's movie truck. He has the camera cars that you have go in front of another car when you're shooting, and all
Yeah,
sorts of movie making equipment. He's the guy who virtually has a monopoly on leasing all that stuff. I mean, again, I don't, but when I was in Pittsburgh, I actually had met him because I was active in the Pittsburgh film group, industry group, and had met him. And he said, "Well, why don't you come drive one of my rigs?" Because they use drivers to take them, wherever they go, around wherever they're shooting
right,
around the country. And yeah, that sounds like it'd be kind of job I'd like, kind of hanging out on the movie set, driving, had a little bit of everything I liked. Uh, but then I got sick. That was back in 2016. I'd spoken to him like in October, and I got sick in November. Otherwise, I might have taken that job and actually really enjoyed it. I really thought that was kind of a cool job.
and how many filming dates a year do they have in Pittsburgh?
Well, no, he rents them all over the country. He
Oh,
he
I
rents
see.
them in. I mean, if you look at you see a movie being shot or a TV series being shot in Hollywood, it says Haddad's on the side of it. He from Pittsburgh. He goes all over the country. He's like the
I
number
see.
one contractor. So he's busy 365 days. I mean, he told me, he says, I'm always looking for good drivers and drivers that are sensitive to the kind of work we do. Because you can't just put any Tom, Dick, and Harry. You're rolling down the road with a $500,000 RV that probably has loaded up with stuff, and then when you get there, you can't be all goo goo gaga over who you see on the set, stuff like that. It's a very it's a certain kind of person. A lot of ex cops do it. He's
Plus,
got
they
a
shoot
ton
early
of
and they
ex.
stay late. They
Say
shoot
again?
early and they shoot early in the morning and they stay late.
Yeah, well, yeah, and they get paid, and the pay was if I remember right, was pretty good. Was it? The only thing is you're not home a lot. You get
No, you're on
assigned
the
to a
set.
shoot, and you're on the shoot. You don't come home on weekends. You're in charge of that piece of equipment. You stay with it. You have to clean it every day. You have to maintain it. You have to do all of the.
That's the Mariner Moose calling. He heard that you were upset with his act in the outfield.
Yeah, he's a little pissed off, but what can you do? I bought this new little phone case here, and it I don't know if you can see that, but the switch to turn off the alarm,
Yeah,
the bell, is just a wee bit.
just a
I
little
can't get my
outside.
finger. I have those I get those big baseball mitt fingers. So anyway, so yeah, so I mean, it was I mean, so you're working. I mean, you can work probably 300 days a year if you want, but it's but again, you're out in some I mean, I'm sure that 4 or 5 Haddad's guys were out at the Alec Baldwin uh, scene out there in New Mexico.
Keep
Because
that air conditioning.
again,
Keep the air conditioning going.
right? You have to be I mean, I remember I had a conversation with him. He says, you have to know a little bit about mechanics because, you have to do light maintenance on the vehicle, whether that be taken into some place to get the oil changed, or if an air conditioner or a heater goes out on location, you got to be able to climb up there and see if you can
Get it back
fix
in
it,
working order. Yeah.
get it back in working order, because we don't have technicians all over the country. We can always get them, but you need to have that thing so that it's in working order for the cast. And so I would have done that.
And they're all made in Elkhart, Indiana, Elkhart, Illinois, or wherever it is.
Elkhart, Indiana. Yes, some of them are. Uh, um, there's also one of the makers of the trailers are different than the buses. The buses are made from a company. Many of them are made from a company called Prevo, and they have plants back east. They have one out here in Oregon, on the way down to California. They have a huge
Pendleton,
plant
Oregon.
on the right side of the road. They're building there.
Tualatin.
And under that, more south of that, almost by south of Bend, not Bend. I forget. I can't get. But if you drive down I-5, you see it. And I know they make them. They build them there as well. But it's a fascinating. I mean, it's always a fascinating thing. But the regular commercial fifth wheel trailers that you see, and the van conversions and stuff like that, many of them are done around Elkhart, Indiana, which is
How's
the
the business?
home of the RV Hall of Fame.
Oh my God. People who have sold their home and decided to travel the nation and realized the price of gas made it more expensive than staying in their house.
Well, yeah, yes, there are people who came to realize once they sold it that gas is about $7 a gallon, and these things use only go
They're
about 3 miles on a gallon.
they're guzzlers, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's the part of van life they don't. When you go on YouTube and you look at van life, you always get these people that show you the rosy. Oh, I woke up and the Grand Canyon is right at my doorstep, and I
Is
stepped
it,
out of my trailer and I fell into the canyon. That they don't tell you that how
if there's no
lonely it
place
probably is.
if there's no place to park by the Grand Canyon.
That there's a lot of places now because there's so many van lifers out there that they're not allowing people to park overnight in many places that you used to be able to. It's become a thing. I
And if the
still wouldn't
case
mind
is,
doing it for a year, though.
well, you got to stay. I mean, would you travel to? Everybody's in the same place. Everybody's in Arizona. Everybody's in Southern California. Everybody's in the warmer climes. If you can drive to where you want and live where you want, why would you be in North Dakota?
Well, for van life, because you get to see
The
something that
Badlands.
you may not see. Yeah, I mean, you get to see, having traveled across country many times, there's a lot of things that I never got to stop and actually see. I, would love. I mean, without a doubt, I want to spend more time in Yellowstone. Um, would love to spend. I've been to Glacier, but I'd like to spend more time in Glacier.
It's a beautiful park. So
Yeah, it's
damn
a
big
gorgeous
and
park.
incredible.
As a matter of fact, there's a thing called the highway to the gods or the highway to the sky or something like that. Um, and it's supposed to be one of the most beautiful drives in America. It's on everybody's top 10 list
Does it go right by the
of.
golf house?
Excuse me.
Does it go right by the God's house? Can you park there?
Yeah,
Can you
yeah.
park
As a
at
matter of fact,
God's
what's
place?
really cool is on one side of the street you have a God and Jesus and the Holy Ghost, and then on the other side of the street you have Muhammad and Allah, and Krishna is up the block. Um, Buddha, he needed a bigger place, so he's kind of around the corner. He's
He's
not
always sitting
directly
under.
on
He's
me.
always sitting. You can find him sitting under the Bodhi tree.
He's sitting. He's always sitting. This guy never moves. But he's you can see him too. So if you take this highway to the gods, you get a chance to stop off and see everybody in one convenient place. It's like that little strip of almost in Daly City in San Francisco, where
Yeah,
they built like the churches all next to each other. What do they call that? Brotherhood Way. And
I do. I
it's
do know that in the neighborhood you're talking about, the Son of God cuts the grass for everybody.
right.
They pay him.
He
They
and,
pay
and
him
he
like a
charges
quarter.
accordingly because he's not really cutting. All he really does is he just goes and puts it back into the ground.
Oh, he lowers the grass.
He lowers the grass, which is uh, environmentally because he doesn't use a chopper, he doesn't use a mower, he doesn't create mulch. There's no waste. He
Wow,
just comes in,
lowers the grass.
lowers the grass, and he can do like a block at a time. And he and
You
he
think he could
charges
just do
everybody
it
for doing it.
accordingly? Yep.
I mean, he's there, he's doing it. So, where it might take a regular group of grass cutters a day to do a block, Jesus has got this thing nailed down in 20 minutes.
Are there any Romans in the neighborhood?
I don't think so.
They have their
Uh,
own
uh,
neighborhood.
yeah, I think Jesus is smart enough to stay away from them. Which Mikey reminds me of something. I was as I was out for my morning constitutional this morning, I was thinking that with all this hubbub going on about the Trump Bible, I was thinking, what do the people that don't want Trump have? Let's say you're not a Trump fan. Maybe you still believe in the Bible, but you don't think that Trump is the guy you want to buy the Bible from.
The only reason he's selling Bibles is because no one owns the rights to it. Anybody can sell a Bible. Anybody can print them and sell them for any price that they want, and they pay no royalties to whoever wrote it.
Right. No, they pay royalties to themselves. As a matter of fact, I saw an interview with Lee Greenwood this morning
What did that cracker
where
have to say?
he's the guy that wrote God Bless the USA, and the guy who originally came up with the idea of the Bible. And after he was touting his autographed by President Trump copy of the Bible, um, he suggested that the Francis Scott Key Bridge would not have fallen down
If what?
if it was named the Lee Greenwood Bridge.
Oh, I see. He has. He's got some problems with his grandiosity. All of a sudden, he wrote one crappy song, and he's all over the media as some sort of a savior.
Yeah, all of a sudden he's Mr. America, and which was funny to me because when they interviewed him, he had two gold records behind him,
One
and
was Journey, and one was Blue Oyster Cult.
yeah, I mean, upon close examination, it wouldn't shock me if both of those records were bought. In one of those. Remember in the '80s and '90s that you used to be able to buy the gold. It didn't have the RIAA seal on it or anything, but it was a gold record. Somebody dipped it in some gold spray paint or something and put it in a frame, and people used to buy them for $200 or $300 on Fisherman's Wharf at the rock and roll memorabilia shop. It wouldn't surprise me if those two gold records that were sitting there were that.
Once in KTIM, we took the gold record apart and played it on the air, and it turned out to be that it wasn't the band that was. If it had been an Aerosmith gold record, it was somebody else's return that had been golded up and put
right.
in
The, they're not
frame.
going to, a Journey is a hot selling record, or Aerosmith is a hot selling record. They're not going to waste a record on that.
Don't put that in there. We can sell that record. Put this one in.
Right. We could put that in the cutout bin.
And it's probably Lee Greenwood, greatest hits.
Well, I'm awful glad that Lee Greenwood is, because for some strange reason, how you confuse people sometimes. You hear one thing, but you hear another. Well, for some strange reason, I used to confuse Lee Greenwood with Lee Hazelwood.
Yeah, I did too.
I was like, wait a second,
boots are made for walking.
Jackson, and these boots are made for walking, and did Sugartown with Nancy Sinatra. But Nancy has tweeted more than once that Lee Greenwood and Lee Hazelwood are not and never have been the same person.
They both came out of the same school of music, where they were tainted by their experience in Nashville, but one survived better than the other.
Right. I mean, Lee Hazelwood had a couple of records and hits, and had a career. Wrote some stuff with.
He tried to make a couple psychedelic albums that didn't quite fly.
Yeah, I never saw. As much as I like and respect the Nashville community, music community, they never hit me with like great psychedelia.
They also came up short many times with sincerity being in short supply.
Yeah, it just seemed to be it was a different. It's a different group of people than you might encounter in New York or in L.A. or San Francisco, or even Muscle Shoals, for that matter.
No, it was as far away and as different from Memphis as any place can be.
Yeah, and everybody today touts Nashville. It's a wonderful place. I know people who've lived there; they love it. I know that one of the I don't know if what band, maybe just Fall Out Boy or something like that, but one of the guys in Fall Out Boy has opened record stores in both Nashville and Detroit. Has a beautiful record store in Nashville and another beautiful record store in Detroit, Third Eye Records. And what they have, which every record store should have, is they have a booth that you can go in and record a record.
Remember Neil Young did a whole album that way.
It's great. I did a couple of songs with my daughter. We were at Third Eye Records in Nashville, and we crowded into the booth, and I had a little karaoke, thing on my little cassette deck, because this was many years ago, and we cut a couple of records doing it. Just thought it would be fun.
Did you do Expressway to Your Heart with the sound effects?
No, we did. Maybe I Know from Leslie Gore. And what was the other one we did? Maybe I Know, and Christmas, Baby Please Come Home.
Okay.
Which we sent out as our Christmas card that year. And many times, if you had four guys from Belmont Avenue that decided that they could sing but had to make a demo, you could go to one of these music booths.
Used to have one of those at the. Used to have one of those at the Empire State Building.
Yeah, they had them all over the place. The most popular ones were in Times Square at the Fascination arcades. There was two of them. And you'd consistently see some, four Italian guys or four black guys, usually, standing in that booth doing doo-wops, making a demo.
Yeah.
Because you could make a demo for a quarter. All you needed was to have the four guys and be rehearsed, because you had to do it in one take. There was no stopping. I mean, you could do the record as many times, but usually there was 3 or 4 other guys lined up.
Waiting for their time. Hurry up in there.
Waiting for their turn. I remember the one on 7th Avenue. The one on Broadway and like 45th or 44th, something like that.
By Jack Dempsey's.
Around the corner from Sam Ash.
Yeah.
And there were several, that was the one that they actually put a sign on, half-hour time limit. Because I guess, they go around the corner, rent the guitar from Sam Ash, and then, go around and do their guitar bit.
I love that. And you should have one of those. You should have one of those in Nashville. Make a fortune.
Well, they do. They have one at the Third Eye Record Store. They have one in Nashville. They have one in Detroit. At both of those record stores, I think it's about $5 to make a record, which is still a bargain. The lady's on TV singing about Guardians. I got diabetes, can't you see?
Everybody in the office is dancing. Poorly, but dancing.
The lady and her.
Please stop that person from whatever led her to do that. Please stop her.
Yeah, and make sure you get it straight. It's not diarrhea. It's diabetes.
Oh, that's what they're saying?
You're wearing white pants, honey. You probably don't want to be singing about
diarrhea.
I hate that.
That's your big are as Americans today, Mikey, where we sing about diarrhea and diabetes. There's no hope, man.
There's no hope for our country.
We're done. Big check, please. I'm going to Albania. Let's go to Albania.
They don't have the little booths where you can sing and make your own record in Albania, I bet. They may. Do they have them in Slovakia?
Oh, yeah, they have 2 of them. One on 66 and one on 66A.
Frontage Roads Records.
Yeah, we have to do a show checking in on the progress in Slovakia. All right, before we go, my unfortunately Easter holiday goes to a guy named Jamarius Quails.
What has he done?
You know what Jamarius Quails from Alabama has done?
I don't.
He has been arrested by the Colbert County Sheriff's Department in Colbert County, Alabama, after they found a large quantity of fentanyl pills and marijuana hidden in 2 Easter eggs.
Ooh. So it's an Easter egg hunt that paid off.
Yeah, that's an Easter egg hunt that paid off somebody. Yeah.
Well, what a thoughtful citizen.
Yeah, somebody allegedly We have to say allegedly. Allegedly, old Jamarius filled up a couple of Easter eggs with some reefer and some goofballs, and decided to to put those in the Easter egg hunt. And I guess the police came over with the dog and said,
We found him.
"We got him. We got him before the kids did. Lucky us."
All right, Vinny, we're going to continue drilling on this end. We'll talk to you on a wacky,
Mikey,
Freaky Friday.
yeah, see you on Friday if there's if the Lord's will and the creek don't rise, and then let's have fun. And hopefully your work will be done, your walls will be patched, and we'll work on our 2024 premium.
And it's possible, but not exactly guaranteed, that the Giants might win another game between then and now. No guarantees, but they're going to play the games. They just haven't figured out how to win the games.
Could be worse, Mikey. You could be a Mets fan. Yeah, it doesn't seem like anything is going right.
And I understand that the owner is disappointed.
Babe.
See you later, Ben. What a why.
See you, Mikey. There's Mikey, and thank you.